everybody. Nice to see you. Today is Wednesday, January 13th. And it was just a week ago that we had convocation, and much has happened to the world since then. So please do watch the news or pay attention to your news feeds or the websites that you follow. And if you are going to be anywhere near a government building if you need to be anywhere near a government building on January 17th, I would encourage you not to do that because they are expecting all kinds of misbehavior, bad actors, potential violence. So you've been reading the papers. Please keep yourself safe. It's not a good time to be going anywhere near the federal building, at least certainly not the federal building. Okay, we have lots to talk about, some updates, some good news. And I do want to, first of all, give you this website. Okay, where am I? Okay, let me go chat. So here, if you go to this website, you can get a Zoom background to honor the 75th anniversary of the college. Thanks to Louise Yamamoto, who coordinated with Jamie Sickle, who has many talents. One of them is design. Please feel free. There are many different versions. You can use any or all of them as your virtual backgrounds for all of 2021. They're so gorgeous that it's prompting me to go out and buy a green screen because my computer doesn't have the capacity to do that. So I'm going to buy myself a portable green screen just so that I can be sure to show a 75th anniversary. See John Richards, he's got one showing. If Navala's on, he had one before. There are all kinds of different ones. Anyway, do what you can. You can help yourself, any and all, use them. There's like 18, 20 of them. You can have a different day of the week, a whole different virtual background. Okay. I can update you on some vaccinations. I've had questions from folks about when are we going to be vaccinated? Can we do it? Because Windward got it. So please know that it is very much dependent on the providers. And what I've been told from the UH communicators via Louise Yamamoto is that the university, UH, is arranging to have all the campuses get access to the vaccines and maybe not have to wait till summertime. So there will be a website available soon. There will be an educational campaign that will include, why should you get vaccinated? Is it safe? All of those other kind of things. So be aware that that's coming. And if there are questions about the vaccine or vaccinations, feel free to ask right now. We have Lisa Radek has been in conversations with lots of the planning stuff, and Sheila Kitamura is our point of contact. Questions?
So he's not going to be at the Zoom today. He just got the call.
Questions, anyone about vaccinations? Will those vaccinations be on campus or elsewhere? Lisa?
Elsewhere. Right now there are two different potential plans that they're going to put forth to the Department of Health, neither of which have been formally approved yet, but one would be where it's offered strictly at Manoa using the Stan Sheriff Center. The other plan would be to divide between Manoa and the LCC campus. I was able to participate with the pods at the LCC campus through the Medical Reserve Corps. And that works really well because you're all outside, but yet you're protected, you're in the shade. If it gets rain, you can still keep working, and it was really efficient. So right now there's still no signed MOA. This Saturday, our nursing students and faculty have access. The plan is to build capacity so that they can help with the further endeavors. But at this point, for the rest of us and all of the campuses, there is no signed MOA, but hopefully within the next week, we'll have more information. Yes.
This is for employees, Lisa, right? Not students.
Yep, it'll be employees and students. The goal is the entire UH system. So they're planning on about 44,000 people. And we're also addressing the vaccination process and helping for the Department of Education.
Okay, and it's at no cost,
Right, there's no cost.
and it's a 2-dose vaccine.
It's a 2-step, yep. The initial plans that were shared with us, if we can get a signed MOA and things, and we get the amount of vaccine that we need, the hope is that those of us within the UH system and the Department of Education would have both 1 and 2 by the end of March is the goal. But I don't know if we'll get there.
Does this include dependents, family members?
No. It's just those of us so that as we work with students, we don't start clusters and things like that. It's to keep our campuses safe because we have so many in one small confined space.
Okay. Do we know if this is Moderna or Pfizer?
At this point, I believe it's Moderna. I don't know if that will change.
Right, it depends on availability, really. But once you have the first dose with one, you have to stick with it.
Right.
You can't just switch in the middle.
Right.
Okay. Other questions?
Lisa, will we be prioritizing on campus? So for example, the nursing, culinary, I mean, folks who are having to teach in classrooms would be going first?
We're going to be prioritizing the health students, of course, are going to be at the top of the list because they're actually working in the hospitals, and the hospitals themselves. Hawaii Pacific Health has actually, we have a couple of options now because some of our students and programs have signed up groups through there because they're actively working in the hospitals. But beyond that, we're going to follow and align with the CDC guidelines, and we'll kind of match that. There will be more communication sent out soon to show how we will, very detailed, how we will do this, but we're going to first be concerned with those of our faculty and our across our campuses that are 75 and older, 65 and older, following those guidelines.
Right, so it'll be done by the levels already established, right? But it'll just be within the campus, same level. Okay, there's a question about fears about side effects.
That's going to be addressed in the publication and the website that UH is putting out there. There's a lot of information and a lot of misinformation out there. I've had the first dose. All I had was a sore arm. I haven't grown any extra appendages or anything, and I feel perfectly fine. And I know several, Dr. Kelly Withy, who is a colleague of ours within the UH system, she was actually in the trial. So she had both 1 and 2 many months ago, and she's feeling fine and has had no side effects.
Good. We'll move on the topic, but if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and I'm sure somebody, Sheldon says, yes, just a sore arm, like the flu. Yeah, and if you haven't gotten your flu shot, you should get your flu shot. That's important too. Okay. If you've been following the news, you also saw that the federal government has dedicated more funding for COVID-related issues. And we have not yet been informed of exactly what the allocation is, nor what it can be used for. If you remember, all of our CARES 1, 2, and 3 each had stipulations as to what the funding could be used for. So we don't expect that the government will be giving us all kinds of more money just to spend however we want. Always the money comes with not strings as much as stipulations, what you can and cannot use it for. And we are waiting for guidance, but we expect to have additional funding coming to the campus. We are still working on spending our CARES 2 and 3. So if you have submitted requests that have been approved, please make sure that you follow through on the procurement and get that done. There is a timeline for all of this funding, so we want to make sure that we get the procurement completed before the funds lapse. Okay, thanks, Dr. Oda. Next, at the next campus Zoom next week, Brian's going to give us an update on our electricity use. There have been some questions about, wow, clearly we're not on the campus, it should be different, and he'll be able to update you as he finishes his analysis. He's not on the Zoom right now. If that was a message that I got. He is there accepting a delivery of PPE from Haima. I believe it's PPE. We have, if you've noticed, enrollment and other enrollment related policies that are coming to play this semester. And I'm hoping that Noel is on the call and can give us an update. Are you ready, Noel?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so just a quick enrollment update. During convocation or some other meeting, I said that we would get to 56 or 5,800. Just to show you that I don't lie and I can tell the future. Our current enrollment is 5,875. So thank you to everybody who has been continuously helping their students, emailing them. Our enrollment continues to increase throughout the week. At this current time, overall enrollment is just down 0.4%. But for me, the bigger thing is for continuing students, within a week, we moved from -5% to -1.7. So thank you everybody who has been trying to help their students. Thank you to the professors and the instructors who have provided overrides, capacity overrides, so that students could also get into classes. Your help is very much appreciated at this time, especially during this week when everything is kind of crazy and hectic. Just watch the numbers. It'll probably increase and decrease throughout the next few weeks as students make more determinations. There'll be a lot last minute adds because students' financial aids are coming in, so that students will then make a better determination to be enrolled. Couple of quick things that I'll mention, and I will probably not get into too much detail at today's meeting, but talk about it a lot more at CAC, is the policies that are in place. So the first one that is affecting everybody is the participation verification policy. I've sent out emails to students directing them to the website to talk about more information about what exactly is there. I believe Maria is sending emails to the instructors and the faculty about what they do on their part. And there's a website that really talks about what it is, how you can get help, and some FAQs to the most common answered questions so that you can get help there. But it's basically students need to participate during the first week of courses, which is this week, or they are at risk of being removed from classes. There's a lot of one-off scenarios where a lot of different situations could occur, and a lot of that is answered in that website. So I think if you go to that website, which I would try to get there in case and put in the chat, but that'll answer a lot of the questions you may have. All of the questions you can kind of ask depending on what you're related to. If it's the website, I think Maria or Jerry can kind of help out with that, but consult the website first, because I think that'll answer most of it. I'll talk at CAC more in detail about how it'll work, especially about the Koali form that was just developed and faculty and staff will use to eventually put students back in if they're mistakenly removed. So that's pretty much the two biggest things that are occurring this week.
More Noel.
No, I think that's it. I'm going to try and find the website for the participation verification. Oh, I will share though, there's some errors that we have been getting a hold of for students registering. So some students, if they're confused, students can register without submitting their health documents for online classes. All right, I think that's one big change that happened, but I don't think it's really obvious to students because on their account, it'll say health record hold. But if you keep reading the hold, it says something, I don't know what it says, but you can register for online classes, but you got to read it in detail. So for students, if they cannot register for your course or they need help, let them know that try to register, because most likely it's the health code that they think is preventing them, but it's just letters in red that suggest that you can't do something, but you can. The other one is some issues with some financial obligations. Some students cannot add or drop classes even though their balance is less than 200. So some of the things we are trying to get fixed, hopefully today or tomorrow. But tell them to be patient, and we should get that settled fairly quickly. What day do we need to drop? Sorry, Candy, I don't know. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kadehi. Wait, sorry, I'm gonna pull up the website. Why don't we pull up the website? Because it has all the information there. And I'll try to share it really quickly with everybody here, just so you can kind of see what information is there.
It is a requirement that we report students who are not participating.
Yes.
Yes.
And again, this is even if, don't worry if the student is on financial aid or not. I think as an instructor, basically, you're just concerned with treating all the students the same. But basically, here's some of the general deadlines for the normal date. So basically, faculty, you would verify participation between January 20th and 25th. All right, and then students would show demonstration from the 11th to the 19th. All right, and then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, these are probably just a lot of the common questions, right? So if students can't make it the first week, what do they do? What happens next if I disenroll? Things like that. So a lot of these questions will be answered here. Like I said, it's something brand new, so we do anticipate a lot of questions coming up. Like I said, I'll spend some time tomorrow at CEC to talk a little bit more about it. If needed, where it looks like there's still a lot of confusion, I'll talk to Maria and we might just hold a separate meeting for whoever wants to come, so we can just talk about what's happening. But that is all for my updates as I look through the questions and see if anybody asked anything else.
Kavehi asked the question about, are they being removed once we report, or does it happen at a batch after a certain date?
No, so Jerry did answer that. If Jerry had the power to freeze time, she could do it instantaneously. Unfortunately, it does take a couple of hours or days to actually remove students. So on the 25th, no, it won't happen then, maybe over the next couple of days.
So it has to be a manual thing. It's not an automatic thing. So Jerry's got to do this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So if you can freeze time, let Jerry know so she can do that and do it a lot faster.
Sorry. So is there an answer to that question, Noelle, on the website? What happens if my student shows up 2 weeks later after the window's closed and I've already disenrolled them?
There is a form.
Sorry, where was the question?
That's Kavehi's question. She's concerned about students who show up after the reporting period and after they've been disenrolled.
No, you have the form.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to talk about it. I got nervous.
Go ahead, Maria.
No, there is a form that is going to be, that was developed by the system. Yeah, the quality built form, and Jerry has said something about it already. So faculties has to fill up that form, and then it goes through the process of approval, and then goes to Jerry, and Jerry's going to put the students back in.
Mhm.
So we'll share that form once it has been put in the website. I don't know when it's coming out. Jerry, do you know?
Hi, sorry, I'm stuffing my face. I'm sorry. No, the deadline for adding a class is January 19th, but it's still going to be the same process if students want to get into your class late. You will still need your approval and your department chair. So that hasn't changed. So, but even for that, at that point, you wouldn't have to mark them off for, you may have to just kind of watch, because you still have till the 25th to report them for non-participating. So I guess use your discretion. Like, it's up to you folks if you want to let students in after the 19th, but they still have to participate too, right? Because some students may end up just registering in and forget about, you know, doing anything in your class. But yeah, again, this is the first go around. Sorry, everything is really manual. So I will be the one having to drop them as well as reinstate them if you guys want them to be back in your class. So, but yeah, there's gonna be a box in your MyUH faculty grade roster. Then you would just click on them to notate that they're not attending. And then I will run a report via STAR to find those students. And then we'll communicate with them to let them know that we did drop them from your class.
I think to answer Kavehi and Nadine's question kind of at the same time, for a lot of these students who are being added after, more or less you should know that the student is being added because it should come with your approval. The other one, should you report at the last minute possible? As close as possible as you can. I mean, we really don't want to wait to the end because there's other responsibilities. But you should also know that from the student's perspective, they are getting, I believe it's going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 emails from myself and likely the other campuses if they're crossing road about this whole participation verification policy. And within that email, we do tell the student that if they cannot show up to class the first week, if it's in person, or they have trouble logging on, that they should contact the instructor right away. So hopefully, when you are withdrawing students because they didn't participate or never emailed or forget anything, that those are in fact students who are going to be removed. So we're trying as best as possible to kind of avoid these situations. It may happen, but for a student to email you during the 3rd or 4th week of class saying, why did I get kicked out? I think you have good enough reason to point out to the policy and that the campus have made multiple attempts to ensure that you wanted to be in course before we removed you. But like I said, we'll probably have to deal with it as it comes along. Okay, that's all updates I had.
Noel, Jerry, this is Carol Hoshko.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question about this participation verification. And this actually came up while we were working on the Oahu Back to Work program. And particularly with the programs that were the longer term programs like, let's say health or some of the longer term IT programs. And so, you know, because we were on federal funding, we were required to really keep track of whether the students, you know, showed up for the first day of class and if they were in during the first week and if they were continuing and so forth. So it was a much more stringent requirement to have faculty keeping track of what was going on with the students. So I'm wondering, you know, is there any dialogue between, you know, when you're talking with Kathy beyond folks about, you know, keeping track of both credit and non-credit students? I know we're on different registration systems, but, you know, it sounds like, you know, it's converging. We have to keep track of the same kind of information and be able to know what's happening with these students.
I mean, I think, so just speaking on what I know of the policy, it's coming out of the financial aid side and their requirements from the DOE. So that's partly why we need to do this, because it's a lot of the federal money being tied up for financial aid, but students who are enrolling but not actually showing up to classes and then having either to repay this amount later on or having some kind of debt associated with it. So that's where the policy is being from. I don't know too much other than that, other than it's a EP that is placed and more or less we have to follow. So not sure how it affects the non-credit side yet.
Yeah, well, these Oahu Back to Work students were receiving, you know, basically free tuition under the CARES Act. And because it was federal act funding, you know, they didn't want people to be getting this funding and not showing up for classes. So this is where it really became very important for us and something very, very much so that we had to keep track of what was going on with them. And, you know, it was it was really a new thing for us to be so stringent about that. So
Mhm.
any tips and coordination that we could do on how that should be kept track of better, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then I seen, so house questions, students gaming the system by showing up the first day and then disappearing. If they show up once. So I think, I mean, there's various forms of participation there, but to answer your, I guess, the overall question, how can the student show up this week, get counted in your count of participation, and then never show up throughout the semester? Yeah, it is possible. And I think gaming the system, yes, it would be. But I think what would eventually happen on the financial aid side, so this is really important for your instructors, when you do put grades, I believe for the student, and if they receive an F, I think you do need to put the last date of attendance. So in that case, if they showed up the first week, never came back, when you input the F, they would see it as they only attended the first week. And that really affects the appeal side when we take a look at it to see whether or not a student really participated or not. So, I mean, there's no perfect answer to this. Obviously, there's going to be a few students who, for a variety of reasons, will do this for whatever benefits they need. But I think we're not really looking at it from that perspective. We're looking at the overall reducing that negative impact and the financial debt to students.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Do any of the other ELT members want to update faculty staff on anything else and students, since Alex is here? No. Okay, that's it. What questions does the Brady Bunch have? Anything on your minds? I never did watch Hal, so I'm not really sure about Marcia.
Marcia.
I don't know. Alex, I see your picture. Did you want to say something? No. Okay. No questions from anyone? No. Is Dave Evans on here and he's not asking a question? I'm totally disappointed. Okay. Do we anticipate? Okay, that's why there's no questions. Do we anticipate the COVID vaccine being required for admissions? I haven't heard of any of that in the future. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a matter of, number one, they're not going to require it of anyone. However, there may be limitations if you're not. I guess that's the best way to put it. So that, for example, even flying or coming into the state, it will depend on if you've had the vaccine or not, what rules you fall under. So the same may be true long-term for UH, but there's no conversation related to that I'm aware of.
We're going to go back to having those little yellow, I don't know if you guys ever had them. I don't remember World Health or who it was, but you had to have a little, it was like a bank book, but it was for vaccinations. And when you traveled, you had to be able to show what your vaccinations were, right? Mm-hmm. Yellow fever or whatever it was every 10 years and a document full of vaccinations. We're going to have it.
Louise?
Yes.
Yeah, I would recommend that if there's any faculty members or department chairs who have students who go into a setting that outside of school do their practicums or what have you, they may want to find out if it's mandated there, and if it's mandated there, then our students are mandated to have inoculation here.
Right. Sheldon's asking about the commencement booklet. Cheryl wants to know if we're going to continue to vaccinate new faculty every semester. And that I don't know. Once this mass vaccination happens, it'll probably be individual responsibilities, I'm guessing.
I would guess that as well. I think that this is the initial effort, and then once, because we're going to have it provided throughout the entire state. Everyone will have opportunity through some mechanism to get access to the vaccine. So once this initial run is through, then it would be handled much like the flu shot or any of the other immunizations that we have now.
Other thoughts, anyone?
Louise, I just wanted to share with you that our Mary Andre T Scholarship Committee for non-credit just went through our process of intaking all of the applicants who applied. And I think we're very close to making those awards, and we'll be making the selection and getting that information into you and to Lin Huang to go to the foundation and letting everybody know who the recipients are. So we will be meeting our deadline. And this is the first time. It's a wonderful, wonderful gift that both the credit, which was handled by Shannon Sakaway, and continuing education students have been able to receive a continuing ed scholarship award.
Thanks, Carol. Always good to get money to the students to help them continue.
Yeah.
Mhm. Anything? Roman's going off about Ohana highlights, nominate a fellow colleague. I think we're going to send out, I think Allison sent me today that we need to do another round for the Excellence in Teaching Award, I believe. So you might be seeing some information about that going forward. Anything else? 200 applicants. And how many did you award, Shannon, of the 200 applicants?
12.
That was your limit, yeah?
Yep.
So we know there's a need. Okay. Last chance, everybody. Otherwise, I get to have lunch earlier than I thought. I was wondering about that, Nadine. Thank you. Excellence in online teaching. Okay. Yes, and the URL for nominations. Excellent. Okay. Counting down. Going once. Twice. Okay, this meeting is adjourned. I will see you guys next week, Wednesday. We have a CAC. Oh, look, Roman put up, I like that one too, the confetti one. Lavishing, very nice. You can all show your 75th when we come back next time. That really looks nice. I gotta get a green screen just to do this. Yes, we have a CAC meeting on Thursday. This is just week one. I can't believe it. It feels like nonstop all the time. Please be careful. Give yourself room to relax and refill your energy levels. Do the things that bring you joy. Be careful. Stay safe. Don't go anywhere near the Capitol or the State Building on Saturday. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye, everybody. Unmute and say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later, Gators.
Aloha. Have a great semester. Bye.